Hey YouTube, it's Raisin Tobacco, and I want to start off by saying if you're not a dipper, or if you don't care about the kind of people who dip, then this video is not for you. My thoughts and opinions in this video are based on observations I've noticed about people I personally have talked to and my personal battles with dipping tobacco. So I'm not here to argue or speak about the lifestyle a dipper lives or the kind of person a dipper is. What I'm here to talk about is the psychology of the dipper and their addiction to dipping tobacco, cigarettes, whatever tobacco product they use. In my opinion, there are two types of dippers, and I'm going to argue that the major difference between the two types of dippers is their resistance or compatibility with the drug nicotine. So the first type of dipper I'm going to speak about is dipper type 1. Dipper type 1 is clearly mentally and more often than not physically addicted to nicotine and additives dipping tobacco has. This is the guy or girl that needs their nicotine fix to satisfy their cravings and urges. Think about dipper type 1 as somebody who just got off of work and hasn't eaten anything all day. When they're driving past the McDonald's, they see it, they're hungry, they don't want to go home and cook, they want their food now. So they're going to pull through the drive-thru, get it. They probably don't want it, they know it's bad for them, but they have the craving. And that's what I'm saying dipper type 1's craving is like. It's something that they have to have, and it's an urge that often they're going to fulfill because of the nicotine. Now if you're a tobacco user and you don't get any cravings, you might fall into dipper type 2. Dipper type 2 is the dipper who has no physical attachment to nicotine, yet goes back to the drug for the mental buzz. Dipper type 2 could go days, weeks, and months without ever using a tobacco product. I believe over time, a dipper type 2 uses tobacco in greater and greater quantities, all at once. As far as dipping goes, they'll pack the top of the lip, the bottom of the lip, not to end their craving for tobacco, but to create euphoria and that mental buzz. So an analogy for dipper type 2 is think of yourself watching a TV show that is always entertaining, yet not that interesting to watch every day. A TV show like Cops or the Maury Povich show. It's interesting, but you're not going to watch it every day, and you're definitely not going to record the whole series. It's just something you do when you feel like it. So, now that I've explained the two types of dippers, I want to share some thoughts on the two types. I am dipper type 2. I have no physical addiction, and I use dipping tobacco solely for the mental experience. I use it on long-term road trips, sometimes for meditation, and when I go camping. I go weeks in between the times that I dip. I never ever feel any kind of cravings or urge to dip tobacco when I'm not doing an activity. Dipper type 1 is definitely more common because they are the ones that are addicted to the nicotine. They're the ones who are addicted to the tobacco product, and they're the ones who need to fulfill their craving. I believe dipper type 2 has a higher tolerance to nicotine because they're the ones who don't crave it all the time. They're the ones who use it whenever they feel like using it. It's not a drug where they use it and they say, oh, you know what, I'm never going to use again, and then they keep on using and using and using. They're the people who take a drug and say, hey, you know what, I am going to use again, but when I feel like it. So it might be weeks down the road, it might be months down the road. They can use the product, get off of the product, and never feel an urge to get back on the product. I believe that dipper type 2 is addicted to the tobacco because of the additives, not necessarily the nicotine, because they're addicted to the mental experience. And it kind of makes me wonder if a dipper had organic tobacco, dipper type 2 had organic tobacco, if he or she would feel the same buzz, the same mental experience that, you know, your typical premium tobacco gives you.